Hello and welcome to my presentation of Thomas Jefferson, American Legacy. Jefferson only wanted 3 epitaphs on his gravestone. Author of the Declaration of American Independence, author of the Statute of Virginia for Religious Freedom, and father of the University of Virginia. I believe these memorial inscriptions to be a part of Jefferson's legacy, but he did so much more. Throughout the reading this week, it is apparent that history can be subjective, and authors take liberty to make their own interpretations of his accomplishments, life, and legacy. As an apostle of freedom, Jefferson authored the Declaration of Independence, but he modestly stated it was intended to be an expression of the American mind, not his own will. Many authors uphold the legacy of Thomas Jefferson, but several try to portray a darker side of him that may or may not be true. Most of their accusations are assumptions, and no convincing evidence is provided, only speculation and probability scenarios. I see no reason to tear down an American icon of liberty in order to show the personal aspect of his humanity. Like every one of us, Jefferson was a human being with a sinful nature, but I believe he was genuinely an apostle of human liberty and freedom. It makes one ponder about the agenda of some historians and should encourage us to scrutinize each article and viewpoint that is provided. The Supreme Court and lower federal and state courts for church-state judgments have used Thomas Jefferson's wall of separation erroneously. He did believe that federal government should not be involved in ecclesiastical establishments, but that the states should allow civil government and religion to be intertwined or work in harmony if that is what they decide upon. Jefferson helped lay the foundation of this great country by providing for religious freedom, Bill 82, and independence based upon divine providence. This required moral, ethical, and intelligent deliberation for the creation of such a complex institution as America. When referring to the paradox of slavery, Jefferson did own slaves, but struggled with the institution of slavery because of his belief that all men were created equal with inalienable rights, the laws of nature, and personal liberty. He used such terms as moral depravity and hideous blot when referring to slavery. Although Jefferson owned slaves, he advocated for abolition through means of legislation. He wanted to abolish the transatlantic slave trade, improve slavery's most violent features, and declare free all those born after a certain date. He believed it should be a democratic process in order to emancipate slaves, gradually that is. Unfortunately, many of the arguments he made were actually used to perpetuate the institution of slavery. Jefferson believed whites and blacks constituted 2 separate nations. He viewed each culture as unable to live together in unity, according to one article. He may have had misconceived ideas and used statements degrading the culture of the African slaves, but he knew that slavery would be the downfall of this new nation. Again, he was not a perfect man and had his faults, but I believe his goals of emancipation were just and true. A disaffected former ally of Jefferson, political journalist James T. Callender, bolstered an accusation of the Sally Hemings affair. In my viewpoint, dispute over the proof of this affair is biased and based upon animosity and resentment. This must be taken into consideration when researching allegations of this suggested affair. Geneticists used the simplest and most probable explanation as their conclusion to DNA research. Now, my viewpoint, using something termed, and I quote, simplest and most probable, is not something that we can rely upon. This type of outcome is neither conclusive nor unquestionably believable. In conclusion, everything in history, and in this case particularly to Thomas Jefferson, must be viewed through the lens of time and not taken out of context. We must be diligent in our search for truth and contemplate quote-unquote evidence weighed against the authentic historical acumen of Thomas Jefferson and the legacy he left for all of us as Americans. Thank you.